elephants' eyes are pointed towards the base of their trunk. Their peripheral vision is quite low, or quite narrowly focused. And so quite often you can walk straight up to elephant. There's no reason why he should see us here. For a human it would be slightly different in that our peripheral vision is quite wide and we are looking up most of the time. Elephant are looking down most of the time. You can see at least 2 elephants there. Now Clayton, you want to know if elephant can run faster than a man? They absolutely can. I've actually followed an elephant in a vehicle at 45 kilometers an hour, which is much faster than the fastest human can run. So they can run incredibly fast, and where I have to dodge around bushes, elephants just go over them. So there's just no way you can outrun an elephant. So you've got to be very careful in a situation like this. Now that elephant is absolutely unaware that we're here. If he was aware that we would be here, his head would come up and his ears would open wide and he'd lift his trunk above his head. And he'd try really hard to try and see or smell where we are. And being a male elephant, there's a good chance that he tries to chase us away. It just is a really awesome experience being with these guys on foot. It is sort of the goal of a trails guide like myself, to try and share these types of experiences with you without influencing these animals at all. Now, because their wind is blowing from the breeze is blowing from them to us, every now and again I'm getting a whiff of their breath. An elephant's breath smells like herby toothpaste. It's the most fantastic smell. Now, we're not going to be able to get any closer than this right now. We'll have to wait for that elephant to move off a little bit. The reason for that is that there's this dip here with lots of vegetation, and it will first drop us below the sight of this elephant, and secondly there's too much chance of us making a noise here. I just want to welcome all our new viewers. We've got some elephant on foot. We are in the Kruger National Park on foot with nothing around us, no vehicle, no nothing. And we've been tracking these elephants for the whole morning, and we've caught up with them. They're just in front of us here. We've seen 3 elephants, and we are trying to show them to you. They've just moved into the grass. Come along. Now, from a safety point of view, we try not to influence these elephants' behavior at all. We don't want them to know that we're here, but I do want to show them to you. Right now, they're just in this vegetation in the front here, and I can see one walking over there. So what I think we're going to do is walk up this way and see if I can show them to you from this open patch that we've got right here. I'm constantly checking wind direction. I use a bag with some ash in it, and the breeze is coming this way, and so there's no danger of these elephants smelling us. Now, you can see a tusk through the bushes there. That elephant's about 60 yards away from us at the moment. And there you can see the eyeball. Now it's amazing how a 3,000 pound or 4,000 pound animal is able to hide away in a bush that seems so sparse. But there's 3 animals in there. There's probably close to about 15,000 pounds worth of elephant inside there right now. this plugged-in experience that we're having at the moment is pretty awesome. It's definitely energizing and adrenaline-inducing for sure. Now, why am I whispering? Now, elephant can hear very well, but they're not only hearing very well. Elephants, as Liz quite rightly says, can feel vibrations through their footprints. So if I were to stomp through here and make a lot of noise and really give it some power, the elephants will react to that because they can feel the vibrations in their feet. So the wind is changing at the moment. It's still actually going in this direction. Now, for a lot of you out there, you might think to yourself, well, why don't you just walk up and see these elephants? We see them from the cars all the time. But elephants react to humans on foot very differently to humans in a vehicle. For the last 100 years or so in South Africa, elephants haven't been pestered or molested by people in vehicles while the tourism industry has been growing. But people on foot have been hunting elephants for their ivory for thousands of years. And there's this genetic fear that elephants have for people on foot. And a big animal like that weighs a couple of 1,000 pounds, he's the schoolyard bully. He's not going to run away from me if he can force me to run away from him. Asked a question that I constantly ask myself all the time in a sighting like this. What would I do if that elephant had to come here? Alan, the easy answer is just create distance. The secondary answer is create distance uphill and preferably in relatively open country. So the three things: create distance uphill and in a relatively open bush. So in this particular instance, I would retreat from where I am now into this open area here, and I would head uphill to that tree basically there, which would be my safe zone. So if that elephant had to come here, that's what I would do. Create distance, do it uphill if you can, and in the open. And why do I say in the open? When elephants are scared of us, as scared of us as we are of them. And when you're in the open, there's no bushes to hide behind and give you bravery. So you force an intimidatory factor by keeping the bush open and saying, well, I'm here, this is where I am. And it has an effect on elephant. It's just Chandra having a bit of a coughing moment there. It's all the excitement. So those elephants are not moving anymore, they're just staying in this thick bush. And we're not going to be able to get any closer than we are now, safely at least anyway. So this is about it for this particular distance right now. That may change. The elephant might move out into a more open or exposed area that allows us to get a little bit closer. But anything that we drive through this bush in front of us here will make a noise, and with the distance that we are to these elephants, they will hear that and react to that, and what will happen is they'll move away. Now Roshni, you'd like to know what signs or behavior of these animals we'd look for as a threat display. Roshni, they're lifting their head up and opening up their ears, not flapping their ears, but opening up their ears is a threat display. Thrashing bushes, ripping up vegetation, trumpeting, screaming, squealing, running at you, kicking up dust. More than that, you're looking at actually them physically attacking you. And elephants quite often will hit you with their foreheads, swing the trunks, stick their tusks into you, pull your limbs off. They can do a whole range of things. You don't want to pick a fight with an elephant, basically, Roshni. They go from being lovely grey animals that are feeding on the bush to terrifying giants in a very short space of time. In actual fact, the only colleague that I've ever had killed by an animal has been killed by an elephant, and so I'm very, very wary of them. This elephant's moving off into some thick bush, so for now we're going to be saying goodbye to some of you, and we'll catch up with you at a later stage. Just yet. What I'm waiting to happen is these elephants to give us a little bit of distance on that side of the drainage line so that we can cross here and we don't run the risk of losing the signal in this ditch, but also to give them some chance to move away so that if we were to step on a branch or bang something against a tree, that we don't alert them. So while we wait for these elephants to move off a little bit, I'm going to send you over to Tristan for a while. See if we can show you these a bit later.
Well, I thought I was onto something when I found some leopard tracks, but very clearly they've been marked by somebody, so I don't know who's been following them and talking about them and having them. That somebody has definitely been following tracks for 2 different leopards, but hasn't called it in on the radio, so I don't know where they go or what the situation is, but they're all around Central and Mulawati area. So I'm just driving around now, just trying to see, hopefully you'll get somebody on the radio who'll tell me that they followed these tracks and where they actually last had them, because it's a little frustrating when you come across tracks that have very clearly been looked at but haven't been spoken about. So we'll try and see where they go. There looks like tracks for a male and a female in that area, so I don't know, maybe it's Tingana and Shadow, maybe it's Tandi, I don't know, who knows, who could it be? Like I say, somebody's followed them, so maybe we'll get lucky with them at some point. But anyway, besides that, it is unbelievably quiet out here. Like I say, I've been looking even for birds and things to try and find, and very little is even been around. There's not very many tracks to work with. It seems to just be a very quiet, sedate morning, that's for sure, and hopefully things will change, because it's been a tough couple days in sort of all respects. Even the sort of bush itself just feels not as alive as what it was a few weeks ago. I don't know why that is. I mean, we've had a bit of rain. It should be bristling with life at the moment at this time of the year, but it just feels a little bit on the kind of sort of quiet side, which is a little odd. But anyway, I'm sure we'll get it right. I suppose there's a bit of life just right here, which has been kind of the only bit of color that we've had over the last few days, which is these dwarf boer beans that we keep finding all over the place. So there's lots of them that are around and lots of them that are flowering. I know Noel's touched on them, I think Steph has touched on them, so always good to see a little bit of coloration in the bush. And it's always nice just to check the flowers, because sometimes you get little creepy crawlies on the flowers in the form of insects, and so it's always good just to stop and have a little look, see if maybe something's not trying to feed off the nectar. And it might be a little cold though for insects this morning. It's a tough day for an insect to be moving around, and so you'd find that in all likelihood there's not going to be too much happening on these flowers, but they are beautiful. It really is, it kind of adds a splash of color, and it's because the tree itself, if you look at it, is fairly kind of spindly and sticky and very few leaves, and so those bright red flowers do stand out quite easily on those trees themselves. Nice, like I said, nice for a bit of colour on a grey overcast day, isn't it? I think so anyway. And then such a deep, rich red that they've got. It's actually, when you see it in real life, it's a little bit kind of takes you by surprise a bit, because you don't expect to see such bright red flowers out here, especially at this time of the year when it's, well, not this time of the year, but this particular year where it's still so dry around us in all directions. It's still not very green, it's brown, it's drab. A lot of the trees haven't even got their leaves, and we're in sort of second week of November now. It's actually incredibly dry for this time of the year, so nice to see a bit of color and a bit of hope that there will be some more vegetation on its way. I'm sure the animals must be loving seeing a few flowers around. Right, where to from here, Sens? I don't know. I'm not sure where else to check. These, like I say, these leopards have been up and down. I don't know quite where Steph is at the moment either. I'm trying not to bump into him. I know he's with Ellie somewhere, and there's elephant tracks all in this area, and so I'm not sure if this is maybe where he is at the moment. So hopefully I won't ruin his walk, which wouldn't be ideal. I haven't been able to get them on the radio the whole morning, so not sure if the radio is off at the moment. But anyway, it's been hopefully a situation where I'm not going to walk into them, although I see that their footprints are here with these elephant tracks, so I'm going to probably move out of this area. Like I said, I don't want to disturb their walk, and so while I kind of get out of here and try and see what else I can find, let's go back to Taylor Mack, who seems to be having about as much success as I'm having this morning when it comes to her cuckoo search, because I don't think she's found much more, and hopefully at some point it will just pop out in front of her, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Oh, thank you. Sorry, we're struggling a little bit here with breakup of comms, but you're back with us now. Got many updates to give you and a funny video to show you as well. So you won't believe it, that emerald cuckoo didn't come out, but it came closer and closer and closer, and the call got louder and louder. We almost just needed to walk in about 30 meters into that forest, and we would have seen it in the top canopy. And then an Arena Trojan decided to join the party, and we desperately tried to put it on camera, but it was just too quick, and it didn't want to sit down and settle on a branch, but it was flying back and forth and around and in and out. There was actually two of them, which was really nice. We heard them calling, and then we got to see them. So Jar and I have decided over the next couple of mornings, our goal is to go and visit that forest every single day, and I'm going to go through, I'm going to try and put a list of birds together that we could potentially see in that forest, and then hopefully try and tick them off. I reckon if we just keep going and keep trying, we're going to eventually have to catch them. Then the other hilarious thing that happened, I just need to get it for you. You've got to be quick. I've put it on Instagram, but I need to get it for you. Is, you'll hear me laughing though, is this. Newest members of the Marshmallow Club. So that's basically what happened now, and we go through that crossing all the time. It was really quite funny, but unfortunately what happened is this fella forgot to lock his hub. So with the vehicles that we drive, we don't have to worry about that, but with some vehicles you can either unlock the hubs or not, and then it doesn't matter if you've got 4x4 or diff lock engaged. It's not really, the tires aren't working the way they're supposed to. I was roaring with laughter, because as soon as he engaged his hubs and locked his hubs, he basically could just drive out of the area that he was stuck in. It was, tears were streaming down our faces, because I ran over, eventually I just saw black smoke, and we were just like, no, wait, we'll come and help, because they weren't able to pull him out either, which was strange. So I don't know if the other guy had his hubs locked either, because those vehicles are so strong, it's not even funny. So anyway, so I just went too quickly, and we just showed him how to do it, and then they got out. It was all okay. So we've had some good chuckles this morning. Now we're in the area where the Sausage Tree Pride should be around, but we haven't had any luck just yet. And I've heard that there's one cub missing, which is interesting and sad at the same time, and I wonder what's happened. I mean, I haven't been here for the last few days. Last time I saw them, all 4 cubs were together. They were fine. So I don't know where that one has gone. Hang on, what tracks do we have here on the floor? And these are old lion tracks from when it was very, very muddy. The ground has dried up a bit now though. So we're just going to check this lugger, because we haven't had luck. We checked towards the rocks where they sometimes like to lay about, but no luck there. And so what we'll do is we'll just check in and out these drainage lines and have a quick look around. I really hope that one of the cubs haven't gone missing. It's that's not going to be any good. They're such an incredible pride, and they're getting to the age where they had a good chance of survival of actually making it to adulthood, but at least the female cubs. But boys, obviously, we know life gets a little bit tougher for them once they have to leave the pride, so they could be around here. This used to be their favourite spot when I first arrived in the Mara. They're always in the thicket sitting up on the termite mounds. So they might have come back. Oh, those are topi. Those are not lions. I got excited, very excited for a minute, but that was a mistake. We'll get around there. The only problem is if they're sitting down in the lugger, we're not going to be able to see them, and we can't exactly hug right up against it. So it's a tough one. We'll try and find them. Now, Anna Marie, you're wondering what bird would I like to see in the Mara that I haven't seen yet? I'm not even sure. Literally, and Jar and I have actually been discussing this for most of the morning since you've been doing all sorts of exciting things with the other guides. He's got a friend that's a birding specialist. Speaking of birds, hello. We've got a bird over here. Shall we play a game? Anna Marie, can you guess what bird this is, or anybody else? Hashtag Safari Live. Wait, it's a hungry bird. But the actual name of this one, and let's just quickly get a quick warm up around in here with some birding. So Anna Marie, I haven't even decided yet, or I don't even know. But Jar's got a friend who's a specialist at birding. We're going to try and get him up here, and then what we'll do is maybe go on a few drives with him, and he can take us around and show us a few birds and what birds we could find in particular areas, because I'm sure there's a whole lot that we don't even know even occur here. So that'll be quite exciting. But I'm going to put my little forest bird list together of things that I'd like to see. I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. There's so many birds. There's a bird called an African pitter that I really want to see. Let me see if I can find it. I don't know if it occurs in Kenya. We'll have a look. We will just double check. Oh no, get away from me. There's all sorts of bugs flying around. Oh, you get a call. That call should give it away. Pitter. Let's go to P. No, again, I'm in my big bird book, which takes me a little bit longer to try and figure out. There we go. 326. No, totally it. Woohoo! Linda and Joy, congratulations. You've both said blackbelly bustard. You are all correct. Well done. That was an easy one, but a good one nonetheless. Oh no, it doesn't really occur here. Oh, that makes me sad. Okay, so here I just want to show you, we quickly look at the sort of distribution. So basically where that red cross is, just below that is Kenya, and you can see they don't occur up here, but this is a bird I like to see. They get them in Zambia, and then here's the bird. It's a beautiful little bird, but unfortunately no luck. We're not going to be able to get that one. Should we just open a random page and see if there's a bird that occurs in Kenya, and we'll try and find it. Let's see. No, flycatchers, those are too easy. Ooh, what have we got here? Black-necked weaver. Where are you? Number 4. Have I seen you? No, I don't think I've seen you. That's these ones over here. They're very pretty. So they just occur in Kenya, sort of down towards the southeastern tip. That'll be a nice one to have a look at. Oh, here's a bird that I have not seen for a very long time. A thick-billed weaver. Come look here. We were actually talking about weavers. I think, James, you were asking a question about weavers quite some time ago, and you're wondering if I've seen any. When I was down at Olasheki again, along the Talek River, I heard lots and lots of weavers. I couldn't see them, though, but I could hear them chattering away. So they were obviously getting ready to start building nests around there. Thick-billed weavers are really beautiful. I used to see them a lot down in the Eastern Cape. I have not seen one in the Sabi sand yet. But beautiful brown, but they're very, very robust beak, and then of course that white little head spot, almost impossible to misidentify them. What's next? Mannequins, bronze mannequins. We see, I've been seeing them this morning actually. These little ones, they're quite pretty to have a look at. I'm just opening now and just having a look at random birds while our lions are hiding away. Anybody else got a wish list of birds they'd like to see? Maybe you can share them with me. Maybe you've read about some, or you've seen some from some photographer's page or something. Hashtag Safari Live. Maybe you can help me with my wish list, and we can do a combined one. So everybody, send through which birds you'd really like to see most in Kenya. You can tag me, and then I'll add it, and I'll do it during the day today, and then for this afternoon safari we can go through it. You can have a look and we can start sort of prepping for it. I think though birding is the best time is going to be in the morning. We can come and sit around here at night. It's just that everything gets a bit too dark, especially in a forest. It's going to become tricky to try and film. So morning I think will be best with all the light. So there we go. I think let's do a combined one. Jar, any birds that you haven't seen that you'd like to see? Or would you want some time to think about it as well? Jar wants some time to think about it. We'll put our lists sort of together. Oh, there's another bird. There's a white-browed cuckoo. Actually, there were two, but there's one that's decided to just sit out on the top of a tree, which is quite nice. I absolutely love cuckoos. They are such beautiful birds, especially when they call. And I'm still waiting. I say this every time I see one. I'm still waiting to have a hunt by one of these birds. You will be amazed at the way that they actually run along the ground and will catch their prey. I normally see them chasing sort of lizards and things underneath shrubs, which is quite spectacular to see. Hopefully they're in an area where the grass is not too long. Aren't they lovely? Whoop. Off it goes. Just done. Bye, little bird. Okay, what's next? What's next? Oh, and then to try and identify these LBJs, little brown jobs that are all fluttering around here. There's so many different types of cisticulars and all sorts of other things that I have absolutely no idea what they are, which becomes very difficult. That's why you need it. You pretty much, is it called long claw though? Just sitting right in front of the car. You really need time to sit and, typical, just flew off. That was mean. That was very mean. Yellow-throated long claw just flying away like that. Okay? No, I don't. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. My comms seem to be playing a few games with me today. Even though we're doing birding here in the Mara, I think we might as well just continue with it, seeing as though the lions are hiding away. Let's go across to Tristan. I don't think he's had much luck, but maybe he can do some birding too.
Shame, Taylor's getting confused. I think her comms are a little bit shaky. I've just had the most delicious piece of orange ever. Thanks, Dave. Dave peeled the orange, and he kindly often gives me about a quarter of it. This is daily ritual, and we've given up on mammals, and we are now going to focus on birds. I've got a bit of a scare because Taylor nearly was the first Safari Live guide to show you a Narina Trogon, and I would quite like that title, so that's what I'm going to go and do now. Go and try and find you a Narina Trogon. So that is the plan, and in order to find one, our best chances are up on the escarpment, and Taylor's just got herself a title quite recently. She's the queen of the Marshmallow Club, so she shouldn't get ahead of herself. She should stick to one title at a time. And I'm quite interested to know which little section of forest she found where that emerald cuckoo was calling and where she did get a glimpse of the Narina Trogon. So another bird I'd like to get a better visual of, that we have had a few glimpses of so far, is the African blue flycatcher. So either that or a Narina Trogon I'll be happy with this morning, or maybe a new interesting bird that I can't think of right now, but that we haven't been able to show you. We've got you the Ross's Taraka. I don't think we've got you great visuals of them yet though, so that would be nice. Crowned eagle. That, although when I first arrived here, in the first kind of 2 weeks that I was here, I saw quite a few flying up around our camp, which is just up on the hill over there. and our camp is right up there where my finger is. And we did have a few floating above us for the first 2 weeks that I was here, but since then I haven't seen any sign of them. So those are the plans for us. There's another very pretty bee eater that we see up on the escarpment called a cinnamon-breasted bee eater. It's basically just like a large little bee eater, very similar looking, just bigger. So those are the plans for us. Maybe a few of the hornbills, the crowned hornbill or the white casqued hornbill. We also get those up on the hill. So there's a few options, and we're gonna get up this hill as quickly as possible and into the good area. And while we do that, we are sending you back on foot with Steph.
Scott's good birding area just so happens to coincide with a hot breakfast, I'm assuming. the only good birding spots are close to the camp. We are not close to camp, but we are close to a tree though that is home to a bit of fruit, I think, and at the moment it's a collection of grey go-away birds that are inside that tree. And quite often when you have these parties of grey go-away birds collecting in a tree, they show off with a specific call that they do when they're together that sounds like a telephone that goes off, but at an unbelievable rate. I want to see if they do it for us. See if we can get a little bit closer to them. Now, there is a warthog burrow here that I'm just a bit nervous of, so I just want to make sure that there's nothing there before we just walk in front of it. Yeah, it's okay, so we can come through here. So these you can start to hear the go-away bird now starting to call with a typical go noise. Let's see if we keep quiet for just a few seconds if they'll do it. And I'm hoping that they do this particular call. It's the most bizarre call you've ever heard a bird do. I suppose there's a couple of bizarre calls, but this is a bizarre call for one of these go-away birds. Now this is the grey go-away bird, a pretty drab bird by comparison to its stable mates. The rest of the turacos are all brilliantly coloured. Yesterday you were lucky enough to have Ross's turaco, I think with Scott or with Taylor, with that brilliant yellow face. With that brilliant yellow face and those bright colours of the red under the wings. The grey go-away bird unfortunately has none of those. Wow, this tree is now home to at least 4 different species of bird. We've got collared barbet. It looks like a bunch of arrow-marked babblers. There's a... Oh, sorry. So the collared barbet is on the edge of the tree on that side there, picking off fruit on the right-hand side of the tree. Let me just make 100% sure it is a collared barbet before I go. Yeah, with a black collar and the bright red head. Now he's also a fruit-eating bird. And then I see that the arrow-marked babblers have flown off. So it's just the go-away birds. Becca, you've just asked if there's any hummingbird species in South Africa. Unfortunately, there are no hummingbird species in the southern hemisphere, as far as I understand. But we do get sunbirds here. And sunbirds are very, very similar to hummingbirds. They're tiny little birds, they're nectivores, they have that curved beak, brilliantly coloured with iridescent feathers and with incredibly fast wing beats. And some of the smaller ones are even able to hover in front of flowers, but not anything like the hummingbirds, which of course have that unbelievable rate of wing beats per minute, and in some cases are smaller than some big beetle species. Like the bee hummingbird is the smallest bird on the face of the planet and is about that big, and some of our dung beetles here are bigger than that. Now I am hearing a white-bellied sunbird, and there was one that's flying around here, and see if we can see him. There's a chittering going on. Let's see if I can show it to you. Go forward a little bit. Doesn't look like these you can see why I was nervous of this particular mound of sand. Come and have a look at this hole here, and see why you don't just want to go and stick your face or walk in front of that. Any number of animals could come rushing out of there, from leopard with youngsters to angry warthog moms with their little cubs, or what do you call warthog, piglets? Alright, let's stick around here and see if that white-bellied sunbird comes through. Oh, we've got a lot of birds calling. Let me see if I can see the... Oh, what is that one? That is the boo-boo. One thing that you won't get over here is the Sykes monkeys, which are quite a rare thing, and Scott has managed to find some Sykes monkeys in up in the Mara. Now they don't occur here because of the fact that we just get vervet monkeys here. They're almost the same. But get ready with those screenshots of yours, because this will be very well worth it.
We have indeed, although they are hiding somewhere in these bushes. You can see the bushes moving, and that is where the monkeys are. They're very, very cool monkeys, the Sykes monkeys, and most of you would never have seen them. That's not a Sykes monkey, that's an impala. Come on. Come out wherever you are. Now, I don't want to drive too close there, in the fear that they may be a little bit nervous. It would actually be quite nice to see them nervous, because they've got a very bird-like chirp. Surely this one here that's rustling those branches is going to poke its head out for us. Come on. Yeah, like I said, they've got a very bird-like chirp when they call, when they're a bit distressed. Oh, there's one on the left of your of the screen there. It's so tricky. They're moving through such thick vegetation. You can definitely see that there's something moving around in there. But what exactly? It is tricky. Sneaky monkey. So what I'm thinking of doing is maybe trying to get us a little bit closer, not too close that we scare them off, but a little bit closer, because even if we do get a glimpse of them from here, we're not going to really see them very well. So let's take a bit of a gamble. Exciting stuff. Oh, I've just seen a cinnamon-breasted bee eater, so at least we'll be able to get one of those in the bank if the monkeys evade us. Oof, it's so thick in here. Don't be sneaky monkeys, please. Well, let's see if we're not patient here, if one doesn't poke his head out. But while we wait for the monkeys to do their business, I'm going to try and see if I can work out where the cinnamon-breasted bee eaters are. I just saw some flitzing about. Everything seems to be disappearing into this incredibly thick foliage. No monkeys and no bee eaters at this stage.
Ah, there are the bee eaters. No, just flew out of sight. At least one of them did. Well, it seems like we've been ditched by the wildlife here. Hi, Becca. You'd like to know what is the smallest bird in the Mara? I'm not sure exactly. I'm guessing it's probably one of the tits. Tits are very small birds, but I am not certain of that. Oh, that was cool. You may have heard the zebra calling. You wonder if the monkeys are all just spying on us from in the bushes. They're definitely not moving anymore. Otherwise, we would see the branches moving from side to side, so maybe they are a little bit nervous of our presence. There's another kind of monkey that you get in the Mara ecosystem, only in one specific patch of forest, called a red-tailed or copper-tailed monkey. I think both names are accepted. So it'd be nice to maybe go and spend time in that little bit of forest. It's around one of the camps, so we'd have to ask them permission. Okay, well, that was an epic fail. We didn't get to show you the monkeys or the cinnamon-breasted bee eaters, but thankfully Taylor's found a pin-tailed wider.
I have. It's not just disappeared in the long grass. Maybe it's going to pop up. There it goes. Yes, go back to the tree. Beautiful pin-tailed wider. It's just flying around at the moment. Male with his breeding plumage. Wee, he's just come to join you. Was that the female? Gone into the tree. It's just sitting to the top of the right. I can just see his tail. Here we go. Go down a little bit. Right to the bottom. There we go. You're in it. Bottom right-hand corner, you've got it. There it is. Now, something that I've noticed, and I don't know if it's obviously not behaving particularly well. Let me see if I can get another view of it over here. Is I think the tails of the pin-tailed widers here, and it's just going up with the female, are much shorter than in SA. They're just bouncing around on the shepherd's tree. We'll see if we can follow them around, which is quite interesting. Maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe it's because I haven't seen a wider with its beautiful breeding plumage on for so long. I think they're going to land down on the ground because I saw the female just hop down. You can hear it. Hear him just going chip, 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 chip. Where have you gone now? But really, really beautiful. I don't know why their tails would be shorter here. Maybe because they're trying to avoid the serval. I always tell you stories of how they used to catch, the servals would catch pin-tailed widers and grab them by their tails, and that's the only problem when you are a bird with a long tail. No, he's hiding in the trees now. Oh, that's a pity. Okay, let's go to our next shrub. Let's go to the bridge because we can maybe do some birding around there. That was quite cool though. Lots of them around at the moment, all flying and moving around in this long grass. What are you? Are you a rufous-naped lark? No. Oh no, it's a long claw. There's yellow-throated longclaw. It confused me because look how heavily streaked it is at the back. They look completely different when they're facing the other way. So Joy, you've said you'd like to see some rosy-throated longclaw, and as well as some sunbirds. We can maybe make that happen for you, especially with the rosy-throated longclaw. We've been seeing plenty of them at the moment. And there's a long-crested eagle, sort of straight across to our left, just sitting up on a tree. This is quite nice. A very popular birding spot around here. I'm enjoying this. I wish I could do this all the time. You can just sort of see him right at the top. Where are you? There you are. Hello. Oh, what beautiful eagles. They are absolutely spectacular. Not very big, but they still get the job done. Looking down on the ground, obviously looking for something to feed on this morning. And also just making sure that all those beautiful feathers are intact and nice and clean, and all those hooks are all aligned. Especially when you're an eagle and you need to soar high in the sky, you've got to make sure that your feathers are in the best possible condition. That is a lovely, lovely bird. Very common around cities throughout South Africa, especially along the coastline. Always nesting up in the power lines and catching all the rats and rodents. So I suppose they're good to have around the cities to control the rodent population. I love how it looks like it's only just resting on one foot at the moment. Yes, put it back up. Ooh, Ben, you're hoping to see a Corey bustard? I saw one yesterday, funny enough. Hopefully we'll see them. They seem to be around at the moment. So we'll keep that onto the list. So actually, where's my book? Which notebook are we going to use? We're going to use this notebook. We're going to write. We're going to add them down so I don't forget now. Let's make space at the back of the book next to Tristan's pictures. Okay, so Joy was rosy-throated longclaw. I'm just going to write, and sunbirds. Ben, yours was a Corey bustard. Anybody else? Tractor going past now with one of the balloons after a morning trip. Oh, that's quite nice. Look at the beautiful white that it has underneath its wings. So many more. Sure, Fuzzman Sparkle, do you want to see a Scallows Tarocco? I also haven't seen one yet, so that will go onto my list. That'll be a good one for the forest. So Scallows Tarocco, and then we also had a pelican of any species. That'll be cool to see one out here. And there was one more, Louise. I'm so sorry, I missed the other bird that was also on that list. Crowned eagle. That I hope we can maybe find this afternoon. We'll try. We have seen Craig and I saw a crowned eagle eating a guinea fowl at Purungut Bridge. That was amazing to see. That was actually the first one. There's one that hangs around the escarpment and flies about camp every now and then. Sometimes we see it on the mountain camp, but it doesn't necessarily hang about for too long. Okay, so we've got those birds. Anyone else? Anyone else with anything in particular? I like the Scallows Tarocco though. I'm going to just put a star next to that one. Oh, here we go. James, you would like to tick off all the woodpecker species. Right, woodpecker, and I'm going to put all. There we go. So we're slowly starting our list. And then I will add, no, because now you're going to laugh at myself. I wrote them down and I wrote too untidy. I'm embarrassed. You can't see my handwriting. I normally let you see my nice notes. Kerry, a striped kingfisher. Let me add that in here. Kerry, a striped. We can do that. I've seen plenty of them around. Not particularly long sightings of them. P. Perry with a P, not a K. Thank you. Now I better change it because now it looks like I've written Rary. I was saying, some of you, like, I'm always very embarrassed about my handwriting because it's not particularly neat, but I have a note in here. Look what I found the other day. I've surprised myself. I actually don't remember half the time when I make notes, which is concerning, but I don't even remember doing this note. It was a picture I drew. I obviously saw it in a book. Of the triangle. How's that? I don't even remember making this. I couldn't tell you when I did this. How awesome is that? Now, Ryan, you said you want to see a wild blue fly catcher. We might see one here, in fact. Okay, so yeah, so this was basically just the triangle, and it was quite a nice way. Must have done it before I came up. I don't actually remember when I did this. Oh, wow. Okay, I'm not going to bore you too much. We can come back to this. Scott's got a very beautiful bird to show you.
We do indeed. It's the Ross's Tarocco. And you would have seen a brilliant flash of red as it flew there. Tricky lighting with those white clouds in the background to see their color very well, but you're getting an idea. And what a great start to this little escarpment birding trip. Wonderful. Well, that was one of the birds we were hoping to show you. Well done, Davy. Davy's still on another one. There's two of them. They often do fly in family flocks. And what's interesting with tarocas is it's quite common for them to fly from tree to tree, but they will often land in the kind of lower sections of a tree that they land in, and then hop up, toop, 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 looking for food along the way, and then once they get to the top of the tree, then they fly to the next tree. Very good. They were sitting right here, but they fluttered off before we could get you guys on board. Wonderful. Now, anywhere up in this area, we can expect to see more of those. If we're lucky, the African blue flycatcher. If we're extra lucky, the Narina trogon. Hi, Chris. Yes, we do get barefaced go-away birds in the Mara. There's not a huge amount of them, but they certainly do occur here. I've seen them on a handful of occasions. Sadly, I don't think I've ever been able to show you one of them. I haven't noticed an area where we see very many of them, but they certainly are around. Oh, wonderful that Ryan would like to see an African blue flycatcher. I mean, even for me, I've seen them twice now in my whole entire life, both within the last week. And sadly, none of the visuals I had were really good ones. So maybe this morning we will get lucky and get a great close-up visual of them. They almost look like they're from a comic book. They're such a beautiful baby blue color. Very good. Well, we're going to continue to focus on trying to find you some interesting birds up here, and while we do that, we'll send you back to Tristan for an update on how he's getting along.
Well, not really, I'm trying to, every time I up, it just flies away. Now apparently I've got no picture, the gremlins are being full of nonsense and I need to remain static. Now that would have been fine had our birds stayed still, but they have, so it was a nice sighting of a European beta that was sitting in Bristol, but our European beta flew away as they do. Right, let's to Steph, who I think is still in the area, very close to where I am now, and hopefully he'll have some good news for all of you.
European betas are pretty cool find for now. I think that's a nice tick in the box for today. We obviously trying to give Tristan a hand in the area where he found some leopard tracks a little bit earlier, and seeing if we can pull Hosanna out of the grass for you. At the moment, we're trying to make our way across this crest here where we are battling through this black monkey orange thicket, which are not my favorite species of plant, I must be honest with you. There's a lot better plants around. But a few of you have written in to us over the last couple of minutes to say that I made a slight mistake with regards to my comment that there's no hummingbirds in the southern hemisphere. So I just want to apologize for that. There's evidently there are hummingbirds in the southern hemisphere. Although restricted to South America around the equator, which is probably where I made my analogy from, or generalization from, which was probably a bit wrong. So just to reset that, there are hummingbirds in the southern hemisphere. They seem to be restricted to South America around the equator, and we don't find any in South Africa though, where we do find the sunbirds here, which are a cousin basically to the hummingbirds. This is another corkwood. Wow. So yesterday I managed to find a corkwood. Today I've managed to find a corkwood. And to be honest with you, the last time I found a corkwood was when I was still doing security detail for Scott and Brent when they were walking around here 2 years ago was the last time I found any other corkwoods. I wonder if it's because it's just so dry at the moment and you're able to see the bush before it greens up basically, and you know the grass grows higher than these trees, and and basically makes it very difficult to see. Now, we are going to be sending you 3,000 miles north to Taylor, who's got something that is quite flighty to show you, and I'm sure she's hanging by with anticipation in the hope that it doesn't go anywhere.
It's still there? On that little thingy? Hello, sorry, I'm guiding Jar, and there's a little sunbird there. I think it's a collared sunbird. It's there. You can just see the leaves moving. It's hopping around. It's eating something. There we go. It's beautiful. It's green and yellow. I'm just going to have a look at the other 17,000 species of sunbird that you probably get within this area that I've just never seen before. So we can have a look at it. But, Joy, weren't you looking for sunbirds? I've got to check now because I've already forgotten. I've got everything written down. Oh, where's these pages? Goodness, there's people going past. Yes, Joy, you were wanting to see sunbirds, so there we go. Wish granted. Okay, now I'm looking at my book. They're beautiful little birds. We actually see collared sunbirds in South Africa quite often. They're particularly common. S for sunbird, Taylor. I need to learn this book so I can be quicker off the mark. There's lots of birds. There's bulbuls. Is there anything else there? There were lots of bulbuls. We had some. There's a bee eater up top to the right of where we had that bird. What bee eater is that? No, come back! I don't know what bee eater it was. I didn't get to see. It was so far away up in the tree. I was hoping for us to get there in time. But the birds are alive. Oh, and I never even knew that you got cinnamon-breasted bee eaters either, so that was a new one. Maybe that's what we just saw. I'm still looking for sunbirds. Oh, here we go. We need to go to page 620. Let's start at 620 and work our way around. Where are you? I've got so many things on my lap as well. I want to just confirm that it was a collared sunbird. Heather, you're wondering if there are toucans? Not in the Mara. I've never seen a toucan, but there are lots of hornbills and things like that that I suppose have got big beaks like toucans, but no toucans. Are there any toucans or anything? Not in Kenya, I don't think. Where are these little birds now? Oh, yeah, these are pretty. I'm just quickly looking. Ooh. Eastern violet-backed sunbird. What number are you? Number 4. That's going on my list. We can see that here. We definitely need to find that sunbird. Joy, how about that? That's going to be my goal. I haven't seen too many. I'm just going to turn the page because I'm trying to figure out where exactly. It's so hard. This book is too big. I just want to double check that the sunbird we did see was a collared. This is a collared sunbird here. It looked quite dark though. No, I'm sure it was. I mean, they're variable. Maybe a variable. Let's have a look. Variable. There's the variable number 2. No. Do you think so? No. I don't know. I didn't get a good enough look at it. I was just watching it hop. But that looks like more of a sort of bluishy green. Maybe you can help me. I think it was a collared that we saw. It also didn't have as massive, robust beak. I'm going to turn the page just so you can see the difference in size of the beak. There we go. Look here. The beak is not sort of as long as a variable sunbird. So I think it was the collared that we got to see. It was very quick sighting, and then I was also paging through my book instead of concentrating. But we keep checking around here. I saw some very pretty sunbirds around in Talek, but I don't know what they were. I didn't have my binoculars on hand. I'm looking in the trees because I can just see these leaves bouncing around. Who are you? And why won't you sit still? I can hear all the little testiculars and other little things chirping now. Right. No. No blue flycatcher, I'm afraid. I haven't even heard it. Or even a paradise. Oh, there's little things just flying. What just flew down there? Who have we got? Yeah, what are those? Little waxbills. No, what are those? My monitor's so dirty. They've got red on them. I'm not imagining it, hey? Little firefinches, maybe? Yeah, little firefinches. I do copy you. Sorry, Louise, I'm just concentrating. Which firefinches? Jamisons, maybe? Let's go have a look at little firefinches. There we go, 700. That was pretty easy. I managed to find that one pretty quickly. Goodness gracious. Now I've really got to practice on these little LBJs. But that's fine. We've got a book to keep them. Where's Jamisons? Maybe they're not Jamisons. Jamisons I feel like are a bit too red. No. There's a tiny bit of red on them. Hey, just on their wings. Maybe take some screenshots. See, what's a seed cracker? My goodness, I'm looking at all these. I haven't seen half of them. That's what's so exciting about birding, is that you can never get bored. You got a little red bottom. I'm going to check the different types of wax bills. I'm here. 712. So we didn't have to go too far. Sorry, I feel like I'm being very selfish here. My monitors, I'm just checking the wax bills out quickly too, because it could also be a little wax bill. Yeah, it's either a wax bill or firefinch. Oh my gosh, never mind, they've come right, look. They were right here. I'm just looking in my book trying to identify it very quickly. And they're still there, they're just hopping right around. Does it have a black mark on its face or anything? Come closer, little birds. Please come closer. Tiny little red flick on sort of the crown, not the crown of the head, but sort of where the sear meets. I'm just going to page down a little bit further. Everyone is just so colourful. Not what I'm looking for. But maybe you can help me. Maybe some of you have already seen this and you know exactly what little bird we've got over here, and you can let me know. You can always hashtag Safari Live. Not a Partilia. No, I'm not sure which one that is. I apologize. I'm very tired today. Trying to figure out exactly. Oh, sorry, the car just drove past. Yes, we are on a main road though, so this is probably going to happen quite a bit. That's so cool. I'm not sure what those are. Has anybody given the answer? You've all got better screenshots than me. There's so much glare on my... And they're gone now. But they had a little bit of red over here, bit of red on the wing and on sort of on the rump as well, but quite dull in colour. Joey said maybe a red-billed firefinch. I'm just trying to find the red-billed firefinch in my book. Number 6. Maybe. But possibly. Maybe this picture is just not really doing it much justice. It could have been. Hey, yeah, I suppose. There we go. Well done, Joey. What a hero. Let's go with that. Let me check on my phone. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to open my mobile device. Louise, you're saying number 7. A brown firefinch. It doesn't occur in this area, Louise, but well spotted. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open my phone, but that means I have to put the book down because we've got another app with real life pictures. So I'm going to search for that. You're also going to see many notifications and things coming through on my phone. I do apologize. My phone is connected to the Wi-Fi in the car. No, I'm looking at other birds here. Let's go firefinches. Sometimes it helps. Sometimes, I mean, the drawing's incredible. Firstly, the artists that are able to draw like that, amazing. I couldn't do that. I'll have to draw a stick bird, and one of those ones that do this, that fly into the sunset. That's the extent of my birds. Firefinch. The red-billed. We're going to look for one now. Red-billed. Do you think I can find a red-billed? No, because my phone is stupid. Am I allowed to call my phone stupid? No, do you think that I can actually find a pic? I'm done with that app. It's not working. It just froze. That's how I tolerate technology. When it doesn't want to work and it freezes, I just throw it away and I deal with the problem later. I think it might be out of date. I might have to do an upgrade. It's so funny. I'm not a fan of technology at all, but I'll try and get a picture now, an actual picture of a red-billed 5-inch. I'll try to find it. I promise I'll be patient. Steph, though, it seems as though he's having an exciting morning, maybe not with the animals you're hoping to see, but two really, really small ones.
We definitely are. We've stumbled upon a colony of drop-tail ants, and these guys are like super predators. They don't look like much here when they are slowly coming through the area around their nest. They do react to carbon dioxide though, and if I blow on them, they will quite often react quite aggressively. And you can see how they hold their abdomens underneath them. They've got a very powerful sting, and that sort of that curling their abdomen underneath them and then getting ready to sting and bite whatever comes along is a common thing. There we go. Stung the stick. Stung it again. Now, there are animals that will even prey on these ferocious ants, but quite often they have to use subtlety and finesse and sophistication to be able to do it, because to hunt a lion in a pride of lions is very, very difficult to do unless you are supremely skilled. Now, we found a predator of these ants, a predator that's probably keyed to just hunting these ants right here. Now, she's not in attendance, but she has left a hallmark of her skill. There you have got the larder of a spider, a particular spider who uses these ants as a food source. Now what she's done is she's managed to create herself a bridge with her web, and she suspended her larder from that bridge, and that keeps it out of the reach of these ants. So she's caught, subdued, killed, and then larded a few ants. There's 2 ants there, and then she's feeding on them in the presence of this whole colony, which I just find absolutely amazing. You know, a few years ago there was that horrific movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger called Predator, and I can't help but think that this is very similar to that. You know, this camouflaged beast that has all these advanced weaponry that can just pick you off at will, and then larder you close by and eat you at will, you know, and carry on. Louise, sorry, would you mind repeating that question, if you don't mind? I'll be with you in a second. Dump Rat Dave, you'd like to know if we get fire ants here. We absolutely do. We do get fire ants. They're not the same as the fire ants you get in North America. These ones are much smaller. We call them slender ants here, slender or fire ants here. They've got a bony sting, which is where they get their name from, but they're all part of the same sort of group of ants, except they don't build those massive colonies that you have in North America. These ones generally tend to live in trees and in empty thorns and in cavities in trees, and come out and sting the expletives out of you if you just so happen to brush past them. And so not that nice. But this is quite a healthy colony of these drop-tails. They can really build some big nests. This one here is just remnants of that. Now, CT Watcher, you'd like to know if these ants bite as well as sting. Yes, they absolutely do. They don't have the world's biggest mandibles, but they definitely will utilize both the mandible and the sting to overwhelm a would-be attacker. And they're well known on dismembering very large members of prey. So if something was, for instance, stepped on by an elephant here, a chameleon for lack of a better example, was stepped on there, these ants would actually dismember and strip that carcass of all the meat, carrying it down into their nests. And I've seen one tackle a cicada. I've seen a colony like this tackle a massive cicada, which of course has huge robust wings, and they just piled on and piled on and piled on the cicada until they subdued it. And then it took about 20 minutes to dismember the carcass and individually carry the pieces back to the nest. In this particular case, this is one of the entrances to the nest. They would have carried it back to the nest. And from our research on ants, ants can carry far larger quantities of meat over any given period of time if they dismember carcasses than what they can if they decided to collectively. Am I saying this right? I almost feel it's the other way around. So I can't remember the exact details, but let me post these two at you. So the question was, what is better for ants to carry? In other words, how much meat can they carry? Do they collectively haul a carcass across the ground, or do they dismember a carcass and bring it in pieces back to the nest? And over any given period of time, how much meat can be brought to the colony, working in the two ways? So collectively foraging or individually foraging. And for the life of me, I can't remember which one it was right now. I'll have to come back to you with that answer in fear of making a mistake. But let me see if I can find it while we're busy walking in the caverns of my memory. All right. While I sift through them, we're going to send you over to Tristan.
Well, we still haven't had much luck. I suppose actually we just spotted some nyala, but it really has been tough out here this morning. There's been little to nothing really moving around. There's been tracks for leopard that we found for a young male and a female, but they just peter out, and unfortunately can't find any further sign of them from the Mulawati sort of Chelapan area, as where the last tracks I had of them. Rex said he saw some tracks too, but I'll discuss with him when we get back and try and regroup for this afternoon. But in the meantime, might as well gaze upon one of the most beautiful antelope we get out here. So we've seen the kudu this morning, and now the nyala's coming past, and there's a little young man who's just getting his beard starting. You can see he's still quite light in coloration. He's going to darken up as the days go by, and soon he will be a dark, shaggy brown individual and blend in a lot better with the males. It still amazes me though that they go through this sort of transformation. If you think of all the other animals out here, there's very few that go through a complete color change as a mammal. Most of the mammals stay pretty much the same throughout their life. There's maybe a bit of a darkening of the coat if you think of giraffe or lions, but it's generally not too much changes, whereas these nyalas go from completely light colored like that to these bright, dark brown, shaggy coated individuals. Now the rest of them I think have all hidden away, is what seems to be the sort of modus operandi of animals this morning, is everything just keeps moving away from us rather than towards us. Senzo, why are you chasing all the animals today? No? You're not. Senzo's chasing all the animals, everyone. He's keeping them away from us. No, I'm just kidding. It's just one of those days. It's sometimes how the bush is that you do get these quiet mornings like this where things are a little on the tough side and a little bit difficult to kind of find things, and you drive around and it just feels like there's nothing really going your way, which is of course not the case at all. I mean, there's lots around. It's just sometimes you get so caught up in things that it's sometimes good just to stop and take things in and try and just listen, and maybe something will come from it. But while we're sitting here and listening, and while I reflect upon a quietish morning, here's some Senegal lapwings that are out and about. Now these guys have become so commonplace on this fire break that sometimes I just drive past them and don't even take them in. And I remember that a few years ago, a Senegal lapwing for us was a fairly not uncommon, but it wasn't a sighting that you would see that often. I remember when I first started at Chitwa, there was only a few Senegal lapwings that used to occur close to Elephant Plains airstrip, and other than that we used to see very, very little of them. Now pretty much any open area you go to, there seems to be a nice healthy population of them, which is really very, very cool. And they're easy to tell from the other lapwings in that they have these dark grey legs, this white tummy, and a fairly bare head. Spectre, you're wondering which bird lays the smallest egg? Well, in terms of worldwide, I'm not 100% sure. I'd imagine it would maybe be one of the hummingbirds if it's worldwide. But here in the Sabi Sands, you're probably looking at the penduline tits. So the penduline tit is the smallest bird that we get here, the grey penduline tit, and it is absolutely tiny. I'll try and find it in my book now, if you can just give me 2 seconds. And those eggs will be absolutely minute. I don't think you'll see too much of them, and they really are very, very small. Also, the nest construct is such that it's very difficult to actually see anything inside there. So I've never personally seen a penduline tit egg, to be honest, but I would be able, maybe hopefully we'll be able to. Now, Senzo spotted a little golden-breasted bunting while I'm looking in my book. Well done, Sens. And so we'll have a little look at that while I try and find the penduline tits to show you what we're talking about. But the golden-breasted bunting is a very pretty bird, and so many of them around at the moment. They kind of bounce around all over the place, and we see them quite a lot. But here we go. These are the penduline tits that I was talking about earlier. So you get the grey penduline tit and the Cape penduline tit. Grey one is the one that we see here in Djuma. You will get them here, and then you'll get this Cape penduline one to the western side of South Africa. But they have a very interesting nest. If you have a look at the nest shape, I mean, I know this is not the one that occurs here, but they have a very similar nest. What you've got is this kind of big bag, and inside here is where obviously the bird will nest, and she'll have very soft material inside there. But if you have a look here, you'll see you have this big hole. Now that hole actually leads to nowhere. It goes pretty much into just a chasm of nothing, but there is another little hole underneath, which is the actual false entrance. And in this picture, it's very well sort of, you can see it very easily, but actually in a real nest, it's quite tough to see. And what happens is that, you know, the bird will go in the false into this little entrance underneath, and things like snakes or anything else that's trying to hunt this bird will go into the false entrance and go in there, see there's nothing, and then come out again. Meanwhile, there's a little secretive entrance, so it's very James Bondish. But this little bird, in terms of, if you want to know how big this little bird is, it weighs the sum total of 7 grams. It is absolutely tiny. So its eggs, I would say, must be, I would love to actually know the actual exact measurement of a grey penduline tit egg, but I would say that it can't be more than 2 or 3 grams, that little egg, when it's laid. So it must be amazing to see, and I would love to see a little egg from these guys. I've never seen them in real life, and obviously the reason why is because of that nest construct doesn't allow us to actually see inside there. But I mean, a little 7-gram bird is absolutely tiny. So that would be the smallest egg in this area. Like I say, worldwide, I would think there's a hummingbird species that has got the smallest egg, but I'm not 100% sure of that. I'll have to check it when we get back. So, sorry Louise, I got most of the question except for the last part, which is probably the crux of the whole matter. Okay, so Joy, you're wondering if birds migrate and go over to different countries, who decides the bird's name and how do they decide the bird's name? Well, there's basically a central body that all comes together, and they will then discuss the names of these birds, and they try and keep it in sort of names that can be standardized worldwide. So going along either the family name or the kind of bird's behavioral name, and that's something that is easily kind of recognized everywhere. It's not colloquial names. So like a lot of the names here in South Africa that we had for birds were to do with colloquial kind of sayings. So let's say like the luri. A luri is not a word that is known anywhere else. It's a South African thing. Or I'm just trying to think what other birds would kind of fall into that. Maybe plovers, I suppose. And then they also went along their genetic kind of codes as to, okay, well, plovers and lapwings are actually 2 different things, and they needed to change the names. But it's a central body. I forget the name of who it is now, but it's basically all of these countries come together and they decide together what the names are going to be, and it kind of all gets worked out. But it's, I suppose, a contentious issue, because some people might feel more strongly than others about names, and then they'll have to argue it out and then debate. Most of the birds obviously have had names for many years, and it was just kind of standardizing who pretty much gave the best names, and then also kind of where that name was most commonly used. If in South Africa we had one name and the rest of the world had another, it makes no sense for us just to have one name and the rest to have others, so they just conform it to everybody else's. But it's an interesting thing, and it was a frustrating time when they changed all the names here in South Africa, because it really led to a lot of issues, and took a while for everyone to get onto the same page as to what was going on. Now it's a lot of people don't even recognize the old names anymore. Anyway, talking about birds and feathered friends, I believe Taylor Mack who is not a feathered friend in her own right, is searching still for birds this morning. It seems as though it's been a birding morning all round, with Scotty D and Taylor also in the Mara looking, and us here. So hopefully she'll have had some success and found some interesting little critters.
I'm searching for so many feathers and friends, but I just wanted to show you something. So I saw a lark that's been flying around, and I think it's a white-tailed lark, I'm not sure. So then I opened my book to just double check, seeing as though we were talking about LBJs. And I just want to show you. This is what I get. This is all the different lark species, and they all look exactly the same. Except for a few little color differences. Now, I was specifically looking for, obviously, a white part in the tail. Number 4 is which is just here, is the white-tailed lark, and I think it is them that's been flying around. But I was just like, how on earth am I supposed to identify that without their wings being open or their tails fanned out? It's particularly difficult, and I don't have the East African bird app on my phone. I think James and Brent and all of them have it. I'll have to try and download it today, but it's not a cheap app. You have to pay for these things. And that will hopefully give me some more images. Otherwise, I'm going to have to search on the internet. But I just wanted to show you. I thought it was quite funny how they go, right, they're all the larks. Good luck. Good luck with identifying them. It's so hard. Those birds all look the same. Oh, a warthog. Here's a little warthog over there. It's not little. Now, Sammy Jane, you're wondering why you don't often see dead birds. You're wondering, where do they go to die? I think they either just get eaten, and because most birds are so small, if one was dead in the grass, you wouldn't even notice it. You'd walk right past it. So they don't have a specific place that they go to die. That would be quite funny, though. Can you imagine? You see birds flying off one last flight before they say goodbye. Unfortunately, Sammy Jane, that's not the case at all. So I think a lot of them are getting eaten, and again, they're just so small that it doesn't matter where they die, and unless the grass is short or the ground is bare or it's on a road, you're not really going to see it. Oh, there we go, little piggy. Off it goes, running with its tail in the air. There was a mom around with some young piglets. I remember a couple of times we've seen... Do I still have those photos? Let me see if I can open my phone quick enough to get a picture for you. Remember there was a couple of times I showed you a sow that was particularly pregnant. She had a big bulging belly, and I said she was going to give birth soon. We ended up seeing her with her little ones. I'm just seeing if I can open my online sort of drive. No, I can't. To try and find a picture that I took of this little one. Oh, hang on, it's working. With the tiniest little piglets. They were still almost pink in color. I think I mentioned it to you as well. Okay, pigs. What did I say it as warthogs? No, sadly, I can't find it. I'll try and get it this afternoon, and then I shall show you the little the little piglets that I got to see. But she did give birth. Oh, there they are, just off to the left. Actually, we might get a very quick glimpse of them. They're quite far away in the long grass. There they are. They're growing up nice.
Now, unfortunately, Taylor's gremlins have invaded her before the show could finish, and after she managed to answer all of the questions if she was busy with one. But we are meandering our way home because we thought we were going to be finished for the morning, but we'll just quickly finish up out on this side of the world on quarantine. Now, quarantine is still very, very quiet, not much happening on this side, and so I think it's a good time to head home, regroup, like I say, and hopefully this afternoon things will be a little bit better. But from the Mara crew, so Taylor and Scott, and I think Jahawi and Manu, I'm not 100% sure who's on camera, but I think the two of them on that side, and Faith in the FC, and from us, Steph, Senzo, Jean-Ray, myself, Louise, it's been a pleasure. We'll see you this afternoon on the Sunset Safari.